Ivan Tutwiler. I was incarcerated under ÀSÉ is a name that was given to me growing up in my household. Anyhow, yes, I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. For anybody who's familiar with the city, you know it's entrenched with gang culture. So I grew up in that atmosphere. Anyhow, I eventually got in some trouble, went on a run, ended up out here in Virginia. Got in some trouble out here and spent 25 years in prison. As, my probation officer just stated, I just came home July 2nd of 2018. Now, I didn't have nothing prepared for this, so I'm gonna speak from my heart. For a long time, I used to think that, the system itself was against me and people like myself, those who didn't have pretty much a shot at becoming successful in mainstream society. Immature thinking. As I began to get a little older, while incarcerated, I made a conscious decision to square my conduct up. Once again, at one point in time, I used to think even the programs that they offered us, they didn't work, because everything was connected to each other. But when you began to raise your mode of consciousness and you see things for what it really is and not what it appears to be, you start to see that what you put into it is what you get back out of it in return. So I say all that to say this: those who are awaiting your loved ones to come back into society, rest assured, all of them not going to be thinking like how I probably was thinking in my moment of clarity. So some of them still going to probably be on BS status. So be prepared for that. Nonetheless, just like they may eventually become discouraged because they think that it's hard out here, you all can't become discouraged with them. You have to encourage them. You can't beat them down though. Mind you, they're coming from one position, well, prison. So you can't treat them like they're still in prison. So you can't really beat them down. I know we love our loved ones, so we want the best for them. But personally, I don't think that would be the route to take, because they already feel like the world is against them. As far as the programs, individuals have to take the initiative to want to change the way that they are. The programs I set up to aid and assist you in your excursion, as far as your transition is concerned. I was first introduced to the VAST4 program through a letter that was sent to me while I was incarcerated. Upon reading the letter, I didn't understand it. They were saying I was some type of violent guy, this, that, and third, which is pretty much understandable because I've been in prison for so long or what have you. So, but as time progressed, I eventually met Miss Tia West. And when I re-entry AM, PM, what's the meetings called? The AM meetings? And she attempted to explain to me what the program was all about. I still was a bit apprehensive or what have you, because pretty much I was in denial. I felt like I really didn't need it because I was already on my quest for transformation. But I eventually allowed my maturity to make the decision for me, and I ventured into uncharted territory, and come to find out it was quite beneficial for me. Ever since I've been out, thanks to Dr. Tamika Payton, I've been able to procure and secure a professional resume that I'm always shopping around. I'm on my second job. I'm getting ready to acquire my certification for physical fitness trainer / therapist. Thanks to my probation officer, I feel a little bit more freer. And mind you, that is should be all of our goal, pursuit of liberty, along, of course, with happiness. So the program, it works as long as you all, as well as your loved ones, allow it to work. You have to put your energy into it in order to get back from it. Just like a car. You know what I'm saying? The only way the car gonna work is you put some gas in it. With that being said, is there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us how your first day, first week, first month, and now up to here, how transitioning back into this community has been for you, or you know, what steps did you have to take in order to have, you know, a transition?
Yes, ma'am. Well, fortunately, I had a strong support system. Because I was incarcerated for so long, at the beginning stages of my sentence, I had pretty much cut everyone off. I felt like it was unfair for me to have everyone do the time with me, not knowing that that was exactly what I actually needed to help me remain strong. Not to be a blatant or paint a ugly picture, but being in prison, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in there that your loved ones probably won't even share with you, especially if they have been victimized. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, coming out, I prepared to come out. I prepared myself to come out. As soon as I got out, first thing I did was I went to the South County building to resources, food stamps, medical assistance. After that, I went to go see my probation officer. I didn't wait till the last minute to do it. I took care of all that ASAP. Then I went directly on my job hunt. Fortunately, once again, upon meeting Miss Dr. Tamika Payton, she kind of met me halfway. I was already kind of on my job, but she helped me. For everyone that knows me, my family members, my wife, everyone has told me that including my probation officer, Miss Payton, that my adjustment has been pretty amazing, considering that I've been incarcerated for so long. Most people, they come out, they're what they call institutionalized. They can't adjust to society. They get the feeling that it's too hard. In prison is designed, it is designed to make an individual lazy. So the individual has to take the initiative to get up to, say, just like out here in society, go get a job, go get you some type of education, some type of physical activity, just so that you're remaining active, because if not, then the prison cell itself becomes like a mausoleum. So it was very easy for me. I look forward to coming out into society. I miss being out in society. I miss being around my loved ones, and I knew that if I didn't change the way that I thought, my behavior would dictate that. And if in fact it remained the same, that it wouldn't have made no sense for me coming out here, because then that means I'm going right back. So it was very, I mean, don't make no mistake about it, it's challenging at times. But the thought that I keep in mind is freedom. Freedom. I mean, I don't have to worry about them telling me when I have to eat, when I have to lay down and go to sleep, the clothes that I have to wear, none of that stuff. Even right now, I feel like I'm not even on probation, but that's because that's just in my mind. I feel free already in my heart. So my adjustment process, even right now, it's still in the making, but I'm glad to be where I'm at this moment. I didn't even think that I would even have the guts to stand up here and talk to you all. But I feel like I have something to share, and hopefully I can talk to some more people about my transition and the things that I've learned along the way. That being said, is there any more questions?
I just have a silly question.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, no question is silly.
Did you have to learn to drive over again?
No, it was like riding a bike.
Yeah. Did you have to take the test and everything?
Yes.
Again?
Well, because I'm
and the rules have changed a lot in 25 years.
Yeah, it is. Well, what threw me a loop was I had to get a permit. Like I was 16. I'll be 49 in August. So I didn't think that I needed to get a permit to drive, but I had to get the permit, wait the 60 days, and then go back and take the test again. And then I'm from Chicago, Illinois, so it's a little different. See, in Chicago, I wouldn't have had to do all that. I could just go take the test, and you know what I'm saying? But no, I I didn't forget how to drive. It was very, I mean, it was, now, just like riding a bike, if you hadn't rode it for so long, you kind of rusty. So I was a little rusty.
Well, I know those rules of the roads and those signs, those traffic signs
Oh, yeah.
are ridiculous. I don't
Yes.
even know if I know them all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Did your permit require that somebody else be with you as you drove?
Yes, sir. Someone has to be in the car who has a license. So if you got a permit, you can't just drive just because you got a permit. You have to have someone in the car with you. Yes, ma'am.
Can you speak just briefly about maybe your little anxiety prior to coming out and how your family was able to assist you with that, or their anxiety as well? I don't know if your wife will speak about her anxiety. I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I encountered multiple guys who went home and come back, and went home and come back. So I was always inquisitive. Like, I wasn't the type of guy who judged the other individual because he came back into. I thought there was a lesson there for me to learn. So I went and asked questions like, "What did you do that you thought that may have been wrong, or what was you doing that was right?" Things of that nature. So I really didn't have like an quote unquote anxiety feeling. I didn't have nervousness. I was apprehensive about a lot of things, pretty much because I was gone for so long, what to expect. But I'm also wise enough to know that the more things change, the more they stay the same. So when a person gets out here and you analyze society at large, you see it ain't no different. I mean, it's a little wild, this, that, and the third. But I mean, when we were a little younger, we were also more wilder than what the elders of our time fought as well. So it's pretty much the same. Now my family, they may have felt some type of anxiety because of the fact that they remember me from many, many years ago. So they wondering if you were not in constant contact with me, you would not have actually been able to gauge my transformation as being either a genuine one or a fraudulent one. So that's where the anxiety came in. But once my loved ones were able to feel my energy and to hear me speak and just to see me, they were at ease. They've been with me the whole time. Yes, sir.
So the three of us are with an organization called Voice, which is a community organizing group. We try to change things in Virginia, including the criminal justice system. So we were one of the organizations that helped lead the recent victory so that you can get your driver's license if you have unpaid court fees and fines, if you all are familiar with that. So I'm just curious for yourself. We think a lot needs to change in the criminal justice system in our state. And from your own perspective, if there was something that you could change in the criminal justice system in Virginia, where would you start?
Well, ground level, law enforcement itself, the police officers, the interaction between them and society. The arresting, a lot of people get arrested for some of the dumbest stuff. And then once they get arrested, if they don't have the finance either to make bail, they're just sitting in there, and then eventually they end up getting lost in the system. So I think, in my personal opinion, that's something that needs to be adjusted. If you adjust it at the ground level, it's just like any structure. A structure is only as strong as its foundation. You understand what I'm saying? So if the foundation is weak or is on sand, the edifice itself is going to fall. So on the ground level. Now, I did want to make a remark. The young lady was speaking about programs. All right, so now, prior to my release, I went through the reentry program in prison. I was able to work my what they call your level, my security level down to where I ended up at a level 2 facility, which offered the reentry program. So I went to the program, but even before I went to the program, I personally took the initiative to sign up for the programs that we were allotted, like anger management, thinking for a change, and things of that nature. From what we were told, upon entering into the reentry program, if you had not already taken these classes, and if you failed to take them while you were in there, that you would have to come out here to society and go into your respective probation area, what have you, and then you would have to pay for those classes. So I would encourage you all to tell your loved ones while they are incarcerated to go ahead and take the classes. Even if they feel like the classes may not be of any aid and assistance to them, if they just take the class, they never know what they can get out of it. Every day is a learning experience. Every person that you encounter, you learn something. You know what I'm saying? So it is beneficial. And I will also encourage you all to learn something a little bit about the program, like question them, like say if they are enrolled in the program, ask them questions so that you're familiar about the process itself. That way it makes the transition easier on both sides.
Did you have you had to go through a psychologist to adjust to come out? Did you have any of that?
Some people do. I didn't have to. Well, when I was released, though, one of the conditions was that I did have to go, because I'm surmising, because I was incarcerated for so long.
Yeah.
I had to go see the psychiatrist
Yeah.
that's connected to the probation itself.
I see.
So after speaking with her, she felt that, I mean, she didn't see nothing was like I wasn't off or anything of that nature. However, I was signed up for a class that I eventually, I mean, I did try to fight tooth and nail not to go to it, because I'm focused on getting a job, this, that, and the third. I thought that would probably take up some of my time. But once I went to the class, like I was talking about those other classes, once you get in there, you see the benefit. You see it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're already on your own personal quest in reference to bettering yourself, all it can do is help enhance it. You know, it's something there for you, for anyone.
Now that you have to pay for that, do you, or how'd you do that?
No, it was free.
Yeah,
it was
the
through the program.
mental health clinician that we offer. She's here in-house, Ms. Coons. So if they're a loved one, or based off of a conversation they would have with their probation officer, if we just maybe need to touch bases, maybe not necessarily on a CSB, community service board level, but maybe just some things that they're going through, just trying to adjust that they need to speak with a mental health clinician for, which is her job. We can refer them to Ms. Coons, who's in-house. So she's awesome. And if she has to go further, then she would refer them to CSB for any services.
So is service with that mental health professional just available to returning citizens, or would family members that they invite in be able to be part of it?
Right. Now, unfortunately, Ms. Coons, is my understanding, she would only be available for anyone who's on probation currently. And so she also tries to help people who, if they're on probation or whenever, hopefully, getting off earlier, something like that, she could probably try to help assist with resources after probation, right? Your troubles do not stop once you're done with probation. Sometimes they may increase because you're not necessarily having this idea of suspended time over your head. So she does try to help people prepare themselves for after probation, just like the rest of our probation officers. We try to think of life after probation, because eventually you will get there. So
To add on, upon my completion of the class that was connected to what is it called, the mental health?
Yes,
the
sir.
mental health department is connected to. She told me that if I ever needed to speak, that she can make arrangements, depending on financial status. It could either be free or you have to pay a certain amount. But this is after, this is after the fact. I'll be done with the actual basketball program in July. Nonetheless, that doesn't mean that I would lose contact with Dr. Payton or the people that were instrumental in helping me to adjust. It's my firm conviction that it's about networking. The name of this meeting is called Reunification. Reunification entails networking. Unity in itself, it entails that we network, we work together. We've been taught, and once again, this is just my personal opinion. We've been taught that it's good to be independent, quote unquote. Nonetheless, that's not the way the universe the universe operates interdependent. That means we are all connected to each other. So me personally, whatever I did 25 years ago, it affected a lot of people, whether I realized that or not. And it may still have a ripple effect even to this day. So that's just how life is.
I must ask, were you in a cognitive behavioral prison?
No.
Okay.
I took myself through those type of phases. It took a whole lot of me getting in trouble while I was in prison. I got in trouble and ended up in segregation, isolation. So I would sit inside that cell by myself on countless nights and just envision. I reflect on everything that I had been going through, what I was going through at that moment, and what I would like to go through. And then eventually, that's when the shift happened. Eventually, the shift happened, and my transition began. So I took myself through those different, like weaning myself, like bad habits and things of that nature. I had to, like an alchemist or a blacksmith, I brought about what they call the philosopher's stone out of mercury or sulfur. You know what I'm saying? So.
What would you say on your first priority coming out? Get a job?
Contact your probation officer.
Oh, well, yeah, that, yeah. After you did all that.
Well, the resources that can help, like in your quest for finding a job. Like when I first got out, Dr. Payton and the other individual who represent OAR, they provided me with bus cards and stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
They bought me clothes to wear to job interviews and things of that nature. So you would probably want to get the resources so that your journey will be a little bit easier. It's less stressful. And mind you now, the program, for those who are in the program, they're getting this stuff for free.
Yeah.
So why not take advantage of it?
Right.
It's for free.
Yeah.
Everybody like free stuff. Yes,
What
ma'am.
is the name of the program again?
OAR, but I'm connected to Vassifor, which somehow they have a partnership with OAR. But OAR is ultimately the one that does all the resources and stuff like that.
And that's the young lady that spoke earlier in regards to like,
Did you have anybody at home to grab you by the nape of the neck and say you're going the wrong way?
When I was younger, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody bring your attention to with a little bit of persuasion?
Yeah, but most of us, when I was younger, most young men and women were hard-headed.
Yeah.
We figured we're going to find out on our own. You know what I'm saying? We feel like, then a lot of us at those ages feel like we already know it all. So, even though and I come from a very strong household. My mother and father still married. They've been married for over 50-some years. So and they they highly religious, highly spiritual, strong-willed people. So they stayed on I and my siblings. It's just that, of course, my parents also had reputations when they were younger. We hear about their reputations and then the reputations of the people that we see around us, and eventually, some of us make the wrong decisions, and that come with consequences. Anyone else?
Did they end up throwing you that party?
Oh yeah, I had several parties.
Yeah.
several cookouts.
Oh,
Cookouts,
even
yeah, because
better.
I came home July 2nd, so it was 2 days before the 4th.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My birthday is August 14th, so
Okay.
that whole little span.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
You had a whole month
yeah,
for
that's
that.
right. And then
Food.
my anniversary, my wedding anniversary comes right up in November, and then my wife's birthday is in January, so it's one
yeah.
big long party.
That's good. You got a lot to celebrate, so that's good. That's really good.
The reason Ms. Johnson said that is because his family came to the last family reunification prior to him was released. A lot of families were here. They were saying that they were going to put their family members on schedules and curfews and his family, he had what, about 4 or 5 family members here?
Yeah, that was 3.
It was 3.
Yeah, it was,
My wife
it was your
and
your
my
mother,
parents.
your parents.
Okay,
Yeah.
but they spoke and said, oh, we're throwing a party. And everybody's like, a party? No, they're gonna come in and they're gonna go to bed at 10 o'clock and they're gonna do this. And so his family, he had good support, still has good support, but they had a different mindset. They were gonna
Mind you,
celebrate him coming out.
It's different strokes for different folks, though. So
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
that don't mean everybody throw parties for y'all.
Right.
But I mean, that was just what worked. It worked for me. Though. Everybody was anticipating me coming home. I've been gone for so long, and most of the people, like I said, they stayed in contact with me, so they saw the evolution. They saw me grow from knucklehead to authentic adult. So. Well, thank you for having me.
Very good.
I pray that you all's reunification with your loved ones is as peaceful and harmonious as mine has been thus far.
Yeah.
Thank you.